Welcome back to the 12 Team Podcast. This is your host with the most 12, coming in strong again with another episode, the One Piece manga chapter review section. I read it twice over the TCP scans version, but also the Viz. So I had to make sure that I only drop them out when the official Viz translation comes out. Only because I know it's some discrepancies still when it comes down to the subline text form. But we have chapter 1125, What Death Means. Whew. Man, that title alone, it hits different, especially if you have read this chapter already. I'm telling you, it's a lot of things that One Piece is starting to do right now, that's leaving the readers with that moment, like, oh shit, here we go now. Like things are about to pick up, especially at the end of this chapter. But to start it off, of course, we have Yamato still going around and Wano as she makes her rounds. And right now, she's over there with all of the carpenters or, the people who are going around building the foremen and stuff like that. That's revamping the entire Wano country after it was, some of it was destroyed. But the head foreman is missing. So we're missing Minatoma. And hopefully his disappearance isn't something that comes. Hopefully we can find him soon. It's not something that's out of character of him. So Yamato's looking around. She's gonna take off most likely and find out where he's at. Come next chapter, I'm assuming, but don't hold me to that. But assuming that's what's gonna happen. But we get right into it. This chapter right here, like I said, it left so many heads turned, only because of what went down. And we start off, of course, with the Rob Lucci and Kaku coming back on board to the ship. And as the Marines or the Seppo agents are asking them what happened to Stutzy, where Stutzy, Rob Lucci just simply says, I killed her. And of course, Kaku knows the true story. They're trying to make sure they protect Stutzy for the most part, so she isn't labeled, something that's different with it. But she has been murdered by Rob Lucci, and that goes to have people start thinking like, all right, cool. So what's next? And next, of course, is what Jay Garcia started talking about, how Punk York, along with Punk Records, the power plant, and the three things they gained to help with the mother flame, make sure that that fire never goes out, was a moment that they now think of as, all right, cool, we succeeded with this. Even though the 9 vice admirals are all there, and they're all looking like, all right, cool, we failed, we messed up the Buster Call, we can still go after the Straw Hats and meet them at Elbaf. Jake Garcia is telling them, don't think of it as a failure, don't bother with Elbaf. This isn't the blame on anybody. It's not a colossal failure because they still got what they set out to get. The only thing that is messed up, they did let Bonnie and Kuma, as well as Joy Boy, aka Luffy, get away. And, all of this pretty much could have been prevented years ago when Vegapunk was told to research the giant robot. Now, the giant robot was not supposed to be there at all because years ago, Jay Garcia was told to dispose of it. But him, being who he is, decided, hey, let's research this thing. Let's see what can actually happen and come of it. So he let Vegapunk take it to do research with it with Vegapunk and his other scientists. And they went out there. Who knew that this robot would start moving once Luffy arrived? But the connection, ding, 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 is not just Luffy. It's Luffy, the reincarnation of Joy Boy, which means the connection to the Iron Robot's best friend when he was alive 900 years ago. And of course, Saint Saturn starts, starts having a talk with Vice Admiral Doberman. And Doberman is simply just looking on, asking him different things and saying, well, if that's the case, does that technically mean that everything that Vegapunk said in his statements were true that got out? Since that was one of the biggest things that looked at as a failure, that was Jay Garcia's biggest failure along with everything there. Not letting Bonnie go, not letting Nika go. Of course, they recovered the Mother Flame and a few other items along with that were on the island, but his biggest failure was letting that mission, you're going too low. And as Doberman says that, Jay Garcia looks at him and says, oh, you bitch you. And just simply shoots him. And everybody's looking on like, what the hell, what's going on? Meaning that, of course, Jay Garcia, you know for a fact that you pretty much fucked up with that one. Moving right along, though, we get over to the next panels where we're finally looking on and we see York. And York is sitting there trying to figure out what's going on with the island clouds. Everything that they're doing, it's moving around too much and it's going out of control. Too many clouds are being popped up, moved around. And York knows that Edison was behind this one, but Edison should have been dead. But oh, no, 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 no. Edison is not dead. Edison literally sat there, took the clouds to make a diversion. And inside this diversion, he was able to take Punk Records with him and take off and lift up into the air to get away from Egghead Island. And York knows, damn it, he tricked me. Now, with that being said, it's a lot more to come with because it's not just her being tricked by Edison. Edison also has the spare parts that comes in from the other Stellas. So all the other Stellas are now in one body. We have Edison, Pythagoras, we have Shaka's body, we have Atlas's arms as well inside there. So all four of them are now in one body, and they're looking on to destroy and get rid of all of the spare parts from York to make sure that, oh, since York was there, let's just toss all of her spare parts overboard because we just don't need her anymore. So, of course, that's what's going to happen. And Vegapunk, well, I guess Edison, who is Vegapunk, the Vegapunks, are now reaching into Weathery Island, you know, the island that Nami was on with the weather machines, stuff like that. So their destination was likely going to be landed there. So now we have a Vegapunk. All the Stellas are now in the sky except for York, because York is now stuck down low on the island of Egghead, still trying to figure out her next move because she wants to be a celestial dragon as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But then we cut right over to Marie Joie. And on Marie Joie, we know for a fact that things are starting to get heated up because of what Sabo and the Revolutionary Army members did. They came there, they freed some slaves, they destroyed some stuff, and as well as stopped some food getting delivered, you know, stop the food deliveries from getting made. So all the celestial dragons now that are up there, all those families are starting to get famished because they're sitting there and they're like, all right, I had to sacrifice a meal and a snack. Like, what is this? What am I, some type of prisoner now? And the chef simply looks over as one of the celestial dragons talking. Celestial dragon asks for a certain meal, and the chef gave him fish because that's all that they can have. The celestial dragon wanted beef. Because there was no beef there, he did what he could do. So, of course, he thought he was being humiliated by the chef and simply caps him as well. A lot of people are getting capped inside this chapter. One Piece is starting to get there where people are just starting to fall off now at this point. We go deeper into Marie Joie, into the Chamber of Powers. The Chamber of Powers is normally where the 5 elders lie at. And we know we see 4 of them there, everybody except for Jay Garcia. And in comes walking Garland. And as Garland is walking inside there, they're looking on like, what are you doing here? Whose orders are you here for? Know your place, you simp. Get away from here. And Garland simply knows what he's there for. He walks over, he takes his seat, and he says, my fellow elders, it's time to make some improvements. As the new godhead of science and defense, we see that Garland is taking over the position that once belonged to Jay Garcia. And we look over at Jay Garcia, and all of the vice admirals that's there around him start freaking out. As we get the word that we have a new face, Saint Garland is now the head defense godhead of science and defense, one of the 5 elders now. Jay Garcia is simply having his entire essence taken away from him. On Egghead Island, on the boat over there still, we see that he starts foaming at the mouth. His black aura is coming out of his body now, and he can no longer simply breathe normal. He knows what's happening. He's screaming out, Im-sama, great Im, please have mercy on me. But no mercy shall be given to him because of what he has done. Im-sama simply sucks the life essence out of and leaves nothing but a pile of bones in front of the 8 vice admirals that are standing in front of him. Nobody knows what happened, but we sure as hell do. We get a little glimpse of Im-sama's power, and of course Im-sama is furious with Saturn. He says, why did you let Joy Boy escape? And this was your punishment. His punishment was complete and utterly death, disaster. He has been decayed all the way down to just a skeleton. Once we get that news, of course, we jump right over into the final panel that we have going on strong in the comic book queendom. And in the queendom, we of course know that things are starting to plan out where the revolutionary armies are starting to get heed of what their next plan should be, what they have to go do next. So we have Koala sitting down, writing over everything, going over, the massive war during the Void Century, writing down everything that was said from Vegapunk's message, the ancient weapons, the 200 meters sinking into the sea, everything. She's writing it down and putting it into documentation. They simply say, whoever manages to seize the One and become the king of the pirate will have the power at their command once more. This would be the person who can, one, bring back what happened with the Void Century and do it the right way. They can have control over the ancient weapons. They can prevent the sinkage from happening. And now, because all that is now going on, we have our 4 commanders of the Revolutionary Army, as well as Ivankov, and of course, it's time for Dragon to come up with his game plan. And we look over, and Dragon's last and final statements on a final panel, he simply looks out at the sea and he states, this demands a swift revolution, because it won't be long before the people of this world begin to fight over safe ground. We all know what this means. It's time for Dragon, the person who we all have been waiting for to see truly, does he have this mythical devil fruit or not? What is his true powers? We know he was a Navy Vice Admiral at one point, could even have been the Admiral level, and he has to have had some type of devil fruit that will put him at Admiral level. But Dragon finally speaks, and it's time for him to make his move. You know what happened when Shanks said, hey, Beckman, it's time that we go do it and get the One Piece. We all know what happened when he popped up, and then next thing you know, if you later on down the line, we got that red griffin coming out and destroying the kid pirates. Dragon's turn to step up to the plate now. It's time for all the haters to be silenced, because Dragon has spoken. Him and his 4 commanders, along with Ivankov, are going to now take on their mission, and as well as Sabo, and move on into claiming what needs to be done, claimed right, or doing what needs to be done correctly. Because now we're going to see very soon exactly what is the true might of the Revolutionary Army. And I cannot wait for that to happen. I know we're all inside this together, so please stay tuned, because 12 will be giving you this as much as possible whenever it drops. And Dragon, it's time to put the haters to bed for real. All of you out there, make sure if you know Dragon isn't a fraud, and you know that he is actually who he claims to be, he's Himothy Jr. because Garp is Himothy, then hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment down below, and let people know around the world, let your friends know especially, that Dragon is coming and it's go time. This is 12 with another great banger of this, signing off.